Well, it's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable.
A lot of things are uncomfortable here on Dave and Johnny Live. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? It's nice that we just jump into a conversation already. It's good.
Yeah, well, what were we talking about, John? We were talking about the show.
No, we're talking about last night. Apparently, you guys were uncomfortable, and that's why it ended very awkwardly. It's like, oh, let's talk about what happened last week's show on Dave and Johnny. And everyone was like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it.
Get in there. Talk into your actual microphone. Will you? How about it?
No one really wanted to talk about it last night. You guys didn't talk about it at all.
Well, we talked about it a bit at the end of Ringside Report, but yeah, AJ and Fred seem to have more thoughts on last week's special Valentine's Day edition of Dave and Johnny Live, and I promise you today's edition of the show will be nothing like that. We're going to be talking pro wrestling again. It's not going to be about Johnny North's sexual fantasies. It's going to be mostly about pro wrestling, WWE Hall of Fame inductees, some New Japan news, and Johnny North's pro wrestling career. That's what we're going to stick to here on the show, hopefully, although we may need a little bit of a post-mortem from the show last week, which was quite an experience. I know many of you in the Dave and Johnny universe enjoyed it. Welcome, everybody, to the show, everybody watching on Facebook Live, everybody watching on YouTube right now. It's Dave and Johnny Live. Last week's show was a little wild. But yeah, Fred and AJ had a lot of comments about the show because they both watched it, and they were telling me, off the air before the show. And I wanted to get that stuff on camera, but Fred didn't seem to want to give his full opinion on camera.
He didn't really want to talk about anything, but you got a little bit out of him at least. AJ, not really much at all, actually.
Yeah,
I was very surprised, but AJ always very talkative and not so talkative last night.
Yeah, what happened? What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe I shocked him too much. I don't know.
I think you did. I think you shocked everyone last week.
His mom was also watching too, so maybe he was kind of worried about what he'd say. So,
right.
His mom's awesome, by the way. I met his mom. Really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe she might be offended by anything he would have said last night. So I understand. But I'm glad they enjoyed it in some capacity, I guess, somewhat. I got a lot of good feedback from it from a lot of people I know.
Did you?
So.
Did you? You got feedback.
Like one of my friend's wife wants to borrow the book, Ray, actually. So, I'm like, no problem. I got the movies too if you want. The best part is, like, he doesn't even know about it. So that's going to be even better.
What do you mean?
Like, he doesn't know that I'm going to lend her all this stuff, so.
So she watched the show?
Yeah. It was good.
Cool. So you've got positive feedback from the show last week.
Yeah.
No one's come up to you and been like, whoa, what's going on here, John?
Well, I mean, some of it was kind of like, that's kind of crazy, that's kind of ridiculous, but it was all in good fun, I thought. Most people found. And, like, if you know me, I'm kind of a little crazy sometimes, so it kind of makes sense. Maybe it was too revealing, but it was all fun.
Very revealing. I got some feedback from the show last week.
Okay. Oh, well, Zeb's mom, I guess, is upset.
No, not upset.
Wow.
No one's upset.
Okay. Your mom's not upset?
No, I don't know if she even. No, just
Ah, okay, yeah. There's a little bit there.
No, nobody's mad. Nobody's upset, John.
Okay.
Nobody's upset. Take it easy. I'm just saying. We probably shouldn't do those shows all the time. Like,
it's only once a year right now.
Yeah, I think once a year is more than enough. And even then, I'm wondering,
I'd love to do one if we do it like every week kind of thing, but that'd be like a Patreon kind of thing, I think.
Sure. Let's get to the WWE Hall of Fame inductees that are rumored, that are out there, and I'm believing these rumors. Now, first of all, what we know officially is that Dave Bautista will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. WWE announcing that back in December, which was kind of a strange move, right?
Well, yeah, it's kind of early, but that's all right.
It was very early.
Gets you hyped.
And they also announced that the NWO will be going into the WWE Hall of Fame, and that version of the NWO will be Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Sean Waltman for some reason. Even though he was not the fourth member of the NWO, he just gets lumped in there with Nash and Hall.
Well, the ones that in WWE history, like they believe those are the original 4, so that's the way they decide who goes in first for the NWO. Maybe there'll be more later. You never know.
More NWO members?
To me, the Wolfpack should go in, no?
Like you're going to induct the Wolfpack separately? Why not induct the LWO while you're at it? Why not induct the BWO while you're at it?
The BWO is something, but the LWO only lasted, what, a month at most? I mean, it was kind of a cool idea, but it never really caught on because Eddie got hurt.
I think if you start inducting NWO Black and White, NWO Wolfpack Sting, I think you're going to get it's going to get weird. I think NWO, even that is a little bit like, really?
You were wearing the Wolfpack last night, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people were like, that was the best NWO, so they should go in.
I mean, when it was like a subset of the NWO, it was kind of cool. You know, like when it was like a big NWO, but then there was the Wolfpack where it was like Nash, Hall, I think X-Pac, Conan. They were cool. They were like the cool guys in the NWO, and a lot of the other NWO guys were kind of like the old white guys in the NWO, you know?
And Vincent.
Yeah, right?
Right.
But like the NWO Wolfpack was kind of still in the NWO, but they were like the cool subset of the NWO. Their NWO letters were red instead of white, but they were still with the NWO. Once the NWO Black and White and the NWO Red and Black split up and became two different factions, completely fell apart, and I would say that was the decline of the NWO concept as a whole. Once they split and there was two different NWOs, that was really bad. It was like, all right, it's too much now.
Well, they split and then they came together with the NWO Elite afterwards.
Yeah, well, they lost me at that point.
Right, well, they lost a lot of people.
They lost everybody at that point. Like, I was even fine. Like, a lot of people complain and they say, well, the problem with the NWO is that it got overblown. There was too many guys. I don't think that was the problem with the NWO. I think the problem with the NWO is that they tried to make several different NWO groups. You can't make a million different spin-offs. That's when you get to have a real problem and it gets really weird. So it was the spin-off issue. It did get a little bit bloated at times, but I thought it was cool sometimes when they came out and Hulk Hogan was like in the middle of the ring and he'd be there with like Nash and Hall and maybe Bischoff and maybe like Scott Norton and Buff Bagwell. And then the rest of the guys would be on the outside of the ring, like Crush would be outside of the ring, Conan would be outside of the ring.
Right.
You know, these other guys, and Hogan would talk about the pecking order, brother. Remember the pecking order?
Vaguely.
Well, there was a whole thing about the pecking order. It's like, you know, these are the top guys in the NWO, brother, and those guys are on the floor. You see the pecking order. I'm telling you, there's a promo out there where Hogan says pecking order like 5 or 6 times. It's a very good promo, okay? And I like that version of the NWO when there was like a ton of guys so that they could have main event guys, mid-card guys, and even jabroni guys all part of this one giant NWO group. I didn't think that was terrible. It's when they started spinning off and it's like, okay, well, here's this faction of NWO and that faction of NWO. It's like, all right, it was too much at one point. I was a big fan of the NWO. I still think it was a cool idea. And if you have a mega group, I don't think that's necessarily bad. You know, we have big mega groups in Japan. Try to name all the members of Chaos. There's so many. Try to name all the members of the Bullet Club right now. You know how many guys are in Bullet Club?
At least 10, no?
Oh, man, I don't know. Let's try. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jay White, Kanta, the Rogue General, the Bad Luck Fale. There's
another tag team, no?
Yujiro Takahashi. There's so many different guys. There's Chase Owens. There's at least 7 that I could think of off the top of my head. Taiji Ishimori, El Phantasmo's in Bullet Club. Like, wow. There are so many guys.
I didn't realize that. Wow.
9 that I could name easily. There's at least 9 or 10 guys at Bullet Club right now, right? So it's a gigantic super group, but, you know, it's working to a certain extent in Japan. You don't have to have groups that are only like 4 or 5 guys. What I'm saying is you could do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could do gigantic groups, and it's not necessarily bad.
Well, they wanted to build the NWO where the NWO would just control Nitro. Like, Nitro was going to be just NWO, and WCW was going to be Thunder. They wanted to build it to that extent.
Yeah. I think that was a little bit of a stretch.
Well, it never happened, right? I mean,
Well, that's it.
They had the pay-per-view, and that was it. NWO sold out.
Current members of Chaos here for you. Okay, Chaos, big faction in New Japan led by Kazuchika Okada, right?
Okay.
Hiroki Goto, Okada, Mikey Nichols, Robbie Eagles, Rocky Romero, Sho, Yo, Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, Will Ospreay, and Yoshihashi. 11 guys are in Chaos right now.
Wow.
11 guys. Los Ingobernables de Japón, there's a lot of guys too. I could name you all the Los Ingobernables guys. It's Naito, Bushi, Evil, Sanada, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu Takahashi,
Okay.
and that's it, right? 6 guys in Los Ingobernables?
That's only in Japan, though. Don't they also have, like, some more in, like, Mexico?
Well, I'm talking about Los Ingobernables de Japón. I couldn't name all Los Ingobernables because I'm not that familiar with the Mexican wrestling.
Okay.
I'm sorry, John.
That's all right.
I'm not a lucha libre expert, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be a lucha libre expert. Glenn McKenzie says Norton, Bagwell, and Virgil, only NWO members that matter. Incorrect. Although Scott Norton was a legit badass. Arm wrestling champion. For a shoot.
Wasn't he IGW champion in Japan or something?
Huh?
Wasn't he the champion in Japan, the heavyweight champion?
Was he? He might have been. Yeah, he might have been.
There's a chance he was.
Yeah. Fred's upset. Why is Fred upset? Glenn and Fred are upset. What are they mad about? Fred says it should have been Hogan, Hall, and Nash only going into the NWO, not Waltman. Freddie Garcia. Shout out to Fred.
I can understand that. I think a lot of people are upset about X-Pac because they're saying this is the original NWO, and it's like, well, it wasn't even X-Pac in the original NWO. They just add that on later. But
how about the Giant, Paul White, the Big Show? How about him? How come he's not going in? He was one of the original members.
Yeah, but it's
after
weird.
Hall, Nash, Hogan, the Giant went in.
Right. I think DiBiase, was ahead of the...
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I want to say Fake Sting was ahead of the Giant.
Really?
I think so.
What about Eric Bischoff?
No, I don't know if that was revealed at the time, though. Bischoff was much later.
But he was a major part of that whole thing.
Oh, of course.
I'm saying Six-Pac was not that big of a part of the NWO. And the fact that he's going into the Hall of Fame with the NWO is kind of weird.
Well, it's who you know. That's how he got in.
Yeah, of course. Because he's in the clique. That's why he's going in.
But when you think about it, in terms of his singles career, he really didn't do much, but he was part of some great groups. So if he's ever going to get into the Hall of Fame, this is it. And they realize that.
You could put in the 1-2-3 Kid in the WWE Hall of Fame. Coco Beware's in the WWE Hall of Fame. You could definitely put the 1-2-3 Kid in there.
Right. But would you rather put in the 1-2-3 Kid or you put in the British Bulldog, which they're doing this year?
Yeah, so let's get to some of the rumored names. British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, finally.
It's great. I would have rather the Heart Foundation 97, but that way you get more people in. Brett goes in 3 times.
Brett goes in again. Anvil goes in. Owen goes in. Pillman goes in.
It would have been better.
And Bulldog. That would be good. But Davey Boy Smith going in, long overdue. Don't know why he hasn't been in. I think his son Harry will probably accept for the family. Harry Smith. Davey Boy Smith Jr. in Japan. D.H. Smith in WWE.
See, that's
great wrestler.
There's a lot of names that come to mind where it's like, well, he should go in before 1-2-3 Kid. So this is the way you get X-Pac in without people complaining. But people complain anyways.
By the way, Davey Boy Smith's son there, Harry Smith, if you don't know, his mother is Diana Hart, who is one of the Hart sisters, sister to Brett and Owen, daughter to Stu.
She was on television, WWE television.
Yeah, she was in that angle with Shawn Michaels and Davey Boy. And Harry Smith is a tremendous professional wrestler. He was in WWE for a bit. I think he should still be in WWE or something. I don't know why they don't try to sign him. Super talented guy. And he does a great Bret Hart impression.
I imagine.
His Uncle Bret. Very good. He was on The Bump recently on the WWE Network, that talk show they have. Harry Smith was on there with Tyson Kidd and Natty.
Well, he's still friends with them. He's
Yeah.
still family. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't disappear. That doesn't die away just because you're not in WWE.
Yeah, but he was on a WWE TV show with them. Like, yeah,
Right.
of course, he definitely hangs out with them. I'm not questioning. I'm not like, oh, my God, can you believe Harry Smith was at Tyson Kidd? I'm like, no, man. They obviously talk all the time.
I hope so.
Yeah, Natty is his cousin. You know, I mean, come on. And they grew up together, all of them, right? But
they wrestled together.
you don't see Harry Smith on WWE TV is what I'm saying, John.
That's too bad. But they parted ways, and he was kind of happy about it, too, because it allowed him to explore other options and wrestle in Japan, which I think he was very happy about.
Big, tough guy, submission grappler, too. Pretty good. Trains with Josh Barnett. Catch wrestling. He's a big, tough, legit guy. I would want him in my wrestling company. I don't know what the WWE's thinking, but hey, WWE does a lot of weird stuff. So British Bulldog obviously should be going into the WWE Hall of Fame. One of the greatest wrestlers to ever come out of England. Really a pioneer for that country as far as big stars. A fantastic wrestler. Great with the tag team, the British Bulldogs. One of the best physiques you'll ever see in professional wrestling. That guy was jacked to the gills. I mean, man, Davey Boy in his prime with the braids, okay?
Yeah, I remember.
When Davey had the braids, those arms were ridiculous. Like, he could rival anybody in WWE physique-wise in the 90s, and that's saying a lot because the 90s, the early 90s, all about that big body, all about the muscle guys, the body guys, and Davey Boy Smith was like a great wrestler, but also tremendous body guy.
Well, remember SummerSlam, I want to say it was 92 or 91. He main evented that.
Yeah.
In the UK.
Yeah, against Brett.
Yeah. For the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to make him a huge star. It didn't work out, unfortunately, but...
Oh, come on. Don't you remember what Brett said about that match? You know, Davey and everybody thought that match was about making Davey into a big star, but it was really about showing Vince McMahon that I could headline a pay-per-view and carry the company.
Okay, yeah, that's the way
Read Brett's book, brother.
That's the way Brett looks at it, and that's fine. Brett has his, I mean,
and he also says that Davey was out partying with Road Warrior Hawk the night before the match and looked at him at one point during the match and goes, "Brett, I'm fucked. I don't know what I'm doing here." And Brett had to carry him through the whole match. Read Brett's book. I mean, Brett talks about how much he loves Davey, but in that instance, he totally buries Davey and says, like, look, Davey was not in his right mind. He was out partying with Hawk the night before, and I had to carry him through that match. He beat me. He won the title. I was happy to do it for him, but, you know, me dropping the Intercontinental title was just about dropping that title to go for the WWF title. So it was really all about Brett, as far as Brett tells it in his book.
Right, that's how Brett looks at it. But I think for a lot of people growing up, I know Andy, who saw that when he was like 12 years old, like when he was there live, that was a huge moment for him in wrestling. And, you know, Bulldog was like one of his heroes.
Yeah. I would imagine he would be. Why wouldn't he be? He was one of my heroes growing up. The guy was incredible.
He was
I love the British Bulldog. I was a huge fan.
He was great, but he wasn't Bret Hart, though. I mean, you can say anything you want about Bret, but Bret was that good.
Yeah, Bret was the man. Bret was the hero, but Davey had like some hero dust by association with Bret because he knew he was his brother-in-law, you know?
Right.
He was always tight with Bret. He was always hanging around Bret, so you're like, oh, yeah, British Bulldog. He's cool because, like, you know, he was trained in the Hart family dungeon. He's from Calgary. He knows Bret. He's family with Bret and Owen.
Well, that played on the
Jim the Anvil. You know, all those guys together.
It played on the emotional strings to that match because you saw Diana in the crowd as well, and they played that whole, like, oh, she's concerned, but for both of them.
Yeah.
She was the face at that point.
He had a great career, Davey Boy Smith. Definitely deserves to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Without a doubt. Like, yeah, of course. So it's like we've been asking for it for a long time, and
Right.
It's happening. It's like, good job, WWE, finally. I think Harry will accept for the family. Who will induct the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith?
Bret, like, makes sense, no? As
Brett
long
will be
as
good.
That AEW stuff didn't hurt him too much.
Yeah. Although you might tell that story about Wembley and Hawk.
Oh, well, like, he's already told that story. Why tell it again?
I don't know. How about Regal? Regal could tell, you know, what he meant for British wrestling or something? No? I don't know.
I guess. Maybe Sean.
Sean wrestled him quite a bit.
Yeah, Sean.
Although
Sean didn't want to put him over too in the end.
Sean didn't want to put him over in that one match where Davey dedicated the match in England, right? Insurrection, I think.
I think it was one night only or something.
Okay. So Davey had a big match for the European title against Sean.
He defending, yeah.
He was defending the European title.
That's right.
And Davey dedicated the match to his sister who was dying of cancer.
Yep, that's what happened.
And Davey said that, assuming in his hometown and, as European champion, he'd be retaining against Shawn Michaels. But Shawn refused to lose, winds up beating Davey Boy in his hometown in the match that he dedicated to his dying sister, who later died of that cancer. Shawn took a lot of heat because of that. One of the many things that Shawn did in that time period where he took a lot of heat. Well-deserved heat. So how about not Shawn Michaels inducting Davey Boy Smith? I think that'd be a little bit much.
It would be.
Shawn Michaels. Are you a little bit surprised that they're not inducting the Bulldogs as a tag team?
It's a little bit harder with Dynamite Kid because I guess there's still some bad blood there.
Dynamite is still alive.
Yeah, and that's it. I don't know if he gets along with Vince.
Yeah.
So
he deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, despite what he may be as a man or whatever, as a human being. As far as a wrestler in the ring, one of the best you'll ever see.
I know people have had their problems with him in the past. I know Jacques Rougeau had a problem with him. A lot of people had problems because I guess he was a bit of a bully at times.
Yeah.
It can be rough.
A lot of bullies in wrestling.
Yeah, JBL. JBL's apparently going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so if JBL can go into the Hall of Fame, how come Dynamite Kid can't go into the Hall of Fame? And to me, JBL, compared to Dynamite Kid, I think even JBL would tell you. I mean, no disrespect to JBL. Great wrestler, worthy of going into the Hall of Fame, but he couldn't lace Dynamite Kid's boots. Right?
Right.
As far as, a wrestler.
But the problem is, if he doesn't want to accept it, it's a lot harder to put him in.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. JBL, is he going into the Hall of Fame?
That's the rumor.
That's cool.
Kind of nice that Batista and JBL. I mean, if you think about it, JBL kind of helped made Batista.
Yeah.
If you think about it,
Batista walks alone. What are you talking about?
Walks alone. Well, after Triple H, he got.
Yeah, Triple H really made Batista.
Well, those matches weren't anything great. Batista needs something else, and JBL, being a great heel at the time, the most over guy on SmackDown. He helped put over Batista at SummerSlam. You're looking up the Dynamite Kid right now.
Oh, he died.
When did he die?
A couple years ago?
Oh, that's sad.
I thought he was still alive.
That's sad.
I didn't know he died.
I didn't realize it either.
I think maybe I did know he died, but I kind of forgot. A lot of people die. And he wasn't really around. I forgot that he had died. Yeah, he did die. Bob Cote was like, oh, he's alive. I was like, oh, yeah. He is alive. Or no, he is dead. I said he's alive. Bob Cote said he's dead. Yeah, he died, Dynamite Kid. So I kind of figured, why not put him and Davey in together? Because Dynamite deserves it.
Well, that's another discussion right there, yeah, as a tag team. But then you have to put Davey Boy twice because, as great as he was as a tag team, he also had a great singles career, did he not?
Yeah.
So he should be honored for that. I mean,
yeah.
Should he be honored for the tag team as well? I think so as well. But that's another debate, I think.
Well, maybe they'll just induct Dynamite Kid later one day. Who knows? Davey Boy Smith looks like he's going into the Hall of Fame. JBL looks like he's going into the Hall of Fame. Maybe Ron Simmons to induct him. That seems like it makes the most sense.
It's funny, growing up, I always thought Owen and Bulldog were the greatest tag team. They were phenomenal as a tag team, I thought.
They were great.
And they're both not in the Hall of Fame.
I liked Owen and Yokozuna better.
It was okay.
I love that tag team. That was awesome. Owen and Yoko with Jim Cornette as their manager. Tremendous. Pete Cornette. That was the best thing. It was all downhill from there for Jim Cornette.
No,
keeps still going downhill.
Whoa, then Cornette managed Bulldog and Owen, and that was fantastic. And then he lost them because the other lawyer made him sign the contract, so then he lost them. I thought that was phenomenal.
I liked just the combination of Owen and Yoko. I thought it was a cool combo of a tag team.
I thought it was a nice surprise, but you could tell Yoko, like, he was a lot slower then.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It was kind of the end of Yoko at that point, his wrestling career. JBL, I think, deserves to go in. A long-reigning WWE champion, part of the APA, the Acolyte Protection Agency. He had a nice long run in the business, well-respected wrestler. You know, not the most, perfect pro wrestler. He's not The Undertaker. He's not Shawn Michaels. You know, he's not Bret Hart.
He's a brawler.
But, you know, what he did well. He was solid in his role. That JBL character, I think, was the best thing that he did when he was WWE champion there for a long time on SmackDown. Then, of course, you see in that Ruthless Aggression show that they're airing on WWE TV, he dropped that title to John Cena, which we all remember, at WrestleMania 21. That was really the passing of the torch in many ways to John Cena and Batista. That was the beginning of their eras there. WrestleMania 21, Triple H losing the world title to Batista, and JBL losing the WWE title to Cena. So JBL was a big star, built himself up, and was the perfect opponent for John Cena to kind of make Cena into the gigantic babyface that he became.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to the Ruthless Aggression because apparently it's a lot of propaganda.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of lies from the WWE. I watch it because they're kind of entertaining, but yeah, it's a lot of bullshit.
Like how apparently they changed their name because they wanted to, apparently, which is not what happened.
Had nothing to do. They were like, yeah, Vince McMahon decided that they needed a rebrand, so they weren't going to be the WWF anymore. It was going to be the WWE. We're going to get the F out. We thought entertainment was the way to go. No mention of the World Wildlife Fund or how they took the name or the lawsuit or anything like that. All they're saying is, brilliant idea by Vince McMahon to change the name of the company. Like, what are you talking about?
Or how Vince decided, like, he didn't want to fake his death anymore. That it was more important to focus on the wellness policy instead.
Oh, I haven't seen. Is that in part 3?
Yeah.
So they're completely forgetting that Chris Benoit existed.
That never happened.
That never happened. Even though he was a huge part of the Ruthless Aggression era, they just kind of gloss over it. If you're going to do a documentary, why not give an accurate depiction of history? Why are they making up their own history? Why do they do this?
Well, it's so future generations can believe lies. That's it.
That's it. It's WWE propaganda. Do not believe the lies. We will be here to tell you the truth. My goodness, it is so weird that they do that. Because everybody knows they're lying.
Well, just their own version of history. That's it, you know?
Yeah. John Andrews says, Owen Hart, British Bulldog, and Rick the Model Martel should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I agree with all those names.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Glenn McKenzie from West Island, Gracie Baja, West Island. Go check him out if you're in the West Island. You want to do some jiu-jitsu.
The Glenn NWO, right?
Yeah, the Glenn WO. He says Jacques Rougeau, the Mountie, or at least the Rougeau brothers. I don't disagree with that. I think Jacques Rougeau should go into the WWE Hall of Fame. He was the Mountie. He was in the Quebecers. He was in the Rougeau brothers. The guy was a big part of the WWE for a long time. Ray Rougeau, you could make a case for as well, but I think, Ray is maybe on the edge. But Jacques, I think, deserves to go into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, there's the Mountie, too. That's an iconic character. Intercontinental champion, too.
Yeah. And he trained Johnny North.
He did, yeah. One of the guys.
I mean, come on.
PCO did as well.
Yeah.
I think the Quebecers should go in, but PCO's not done wrestling, too, so.
Yeah. I think the Quebecers should go in, but I don't know if they will. But I think Jacques, he's the Mountie. Everybody knows the Mountie. Everybody knows Jacques Rougeau.
In Quebec, without question.
Yeah.
But when you start talking like this, I mean, the Steiner brothers, that should be a given, and, it's ridiculous that hasn't happened yet.
Well, Scott Steiner says things that keep the WWE away from him.
Okay,
he scares people. He says he's going to beat up Hulk Hogan if he sees him at the Hall of Fame. So, there were pictures of Scott Steiner a couple years ago at the Hall of Fame saying, do not let this man in. He's threatened Hulk Hogan's life.
Right. People are upset with people. You just keep them away from each other. They kept Cornette and Kevin Owens away from each other. There was no problems when that happened. Cornette should also go in the Hall of Fame, too, by the way.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Get out of here, Cornette. Although, I mean, I'm sure that's probably what he's doing, angling for a job with the WWE, because all he does is bury AEW. You know, what do you think that's for? He's probably getting paid by the WWE to do it. Jim Cornette is a paid shill by the WWE. Always has been, always will be. Do not listen to Cornette's lies. He's a paid shill. He is a liar. He's a fabricator, and he's a complete number one jabroni. Don't listen to Jim Cornette. He's a total jabroni.
If you actually listen the last 2 weeks, he actually said AEW was a better show than NXT.
Oh, wow. He's finally waking up and watching wrestling again with an open mind.
He just calls it the way it is. Like he
does.
Like it some weeks, and some weeks he does.
He buries Kenny Omega like he's the worst wrestler ever. Yeah, okay. Well, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Everyone has their grudges, man. Like,
it's stupid. Kenny Omega is so good, to say that he's not is just dumb. Like, if you watch wrestling, if you've watched wrestling at all, and you think Kenny Omega sucks, you're dumb. You don't get wrestling. So there's a problem there. Jim Cornette either hates Kenny for one reason or another, some personal bias that he has against him. I don't know what it is, but it's ridiculous because Kenny Omega is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. So to tell me that he's not a great wrestler, to say that he's garbage and AEW shouldn't do anything with him, get the hell out of here, Jim Cornette. It's a lie.
Well, it's a lot like how people don't like Shawn Michaels. Like, Shawn's a great wrestler. There's no doubt about it. But as a human being, not the greatest.
Yeah, but no one's denying his talent.
No, not at all.
Cornette denies Kenny's talent. It's ridiculous.
It's not his preferred style of wrestling. That's it.
His preferred style of wrestling is like super slow, super southern, super over the top, non-athletic style.
That's not true.
Okay. He'd rather watch the Rock and Roll Express today than Kenny Omega.
You know, he actually thinks Cody Rhodes is the best thing in AEW, and I don't think he's that wrong.
Well, he would, because Cody Rhodes is very old school, and he appeals to that demographic of wrestling. And I think he's very good.
I think
he's not Kenny, though.
Cody's found a way to appeal to all generations, I find. Where Kenny, like, he's kind of set in his own little thing, which is fine, but Cody's found a way to be old school and new school all put into one.
Was Jim Cornette already inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
He inducted the Rock and Roll Express. So he was an inductor.
Yeah.
Not an inductee.
But he was not inducted. Yeah, good. Keep him out. You know who deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? The Bella Twins. Trailblazing Bella Twins. They brought in many new fans into professional wrestling. Many more women start watching wrestling because of the Bella Twins, because of the shows, Total Divas, Total Bellas, big crossover superstars, Nikki Bella going on Dancing with the Stars. Brie Bella is married to the greatest wrestler living today, Daniel Bryan. I mean, respect to that, you know?
2 kids.
Yeah, well, she's pregnant with their second child. And, of course, the Bella Twins in the ring. The fact that they were able to come in with zero experience, zero skill, and learn the pro wrestling business over time. When they started, they were not good. But over time, they became pretty competent pro wrestlers. And Nikki had a really good run as the champion there in WWE. So I think very well deserved. I'm a big fan of the Bellas. You know me, Fearless Nikki, Brie mode. I'm all about it. Always have been. Always will be. I'm a big supporter of the Bellas. I think they take a lot of unnecessary heat from nerdy wrestling fans who just hate beautiful women. And that's really what it is. There's a lot of you nerds out there who just can't stand seeing beautiful women because you know you could never be with them, and that makes you mad, so that when you see them wrestle, you can't help but bury them because you are jealous and you are a nerd. All right? Only nerds don't like the Bella Twins.
Well, I just think some people don't like their wrestling. That's just it. I mean, you said they got
Look,
better.
They're not the greatest wrestlers of all time. I'm not going to say that they're Asuka, or Natty, but they improved a great deal from when they came in to when they finished their careers. And I think Nikki became a pretty good wrestler. I thought her match with Ronda Rousey was really good. I thought Nikki did some good stuff in her career. I mean, maybe it wasn't the best Ronda Rousey match, but look, I'm a fan of the Bella Twins. What they were able to do as big as they were able to get, they became huge stars in pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to give it to them. They spanned a couple of generations there in the women's division, and not many people last as long as the Bellas did in the WWE.
They definitely made WWE a lot of money. Probably more money than most women have. So they definitely deserve a spot. But I think that's the main thing when people look back on. It's like, in terms of women wrestlers they want to see, I don't think the Bellas are on that list for a lot of people.
Maybe, but I think they are on that list for a lot of other people.
Well, of course, for Vince and Laurinaitis, because they hired them.
Well, not just them.
Money.
Like, I still think that Nikki Bella, Brie Bella are two of the biggest stars that the WWE has as far as female talent.
Yeah, stars.
You
sure.
want big matches. You want like a big name for a big match. You bring in Nikki Bella, and it's money. She's like almost the new Trish Stratus.
Wow, I would never say that.
She's
Never.
a big star that you can bring in from time to time for a big match. But I think maybe not anymore because her neck is pretty beat up. And I think she had a brain, something with her brain going on.
We're talking about
Nikki.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Brie and Nikki are both pregnant now anyway, so that's off
Right.
the table for the time being.
Right. And if you remember Brie near the end, she was like injuring people. Like she kind of like was hesitant to even like wrestle at the end.
These things happen.
It happens, but that also happens when you're not wrestling on a regular basis. They just asked her to come back for like a one shot.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be hesitant. And that's bad if it looks.
Yeah, I think that they're probably retired at this point. But for a while there, they were kind of coming back in and out.
Right.
And they were doing good business for the WWE when they were doing it.
They're still doing good business. They still have their shows. They're still making WWE money.
Yeah, they're
So-
still on those shows.
Right. So, they deserve a spot. but-
Yeah. They're Hall of Famers without a doubt. And somebody else going into the Hall of Fame that I'm pretty happy about. I'm wearing the shirt right now. My main man, Jushin Thunder Liger. It looks like the WWE was listening to me when I said, put Liger into the WWE Hall of Fame. He had his retirement match earlier this year. It was a big retirement tour that went on all year. Every stop that New Japan would make in different Japanese cities, Liger would do a promo. He would talk about his final match in that building, in that city, and then it all wrapped up with Wrestle Kingdom. And I thought, it would be a great way to cap off the legendary career, a guy who changed the face of cruiserweight wrestling, of junior heavyweight wrestling, Jushin Thunder Liger. Great way to cap it off by putting him in the WWE Hall of Fame. A great honor in professional wrestling, something that I think he would be honored by, and something that he definitely deserves. If you have been a wrestling fan for a long time, if you're familiar with pro wrestling, Jushin Thunder Liger. The guy is a legend. I first saw him back in the 90s when he was wrestling in WCW, when WCW was bringing in some guys from New Japan, and I've been following this guy's career for a very long time. It's incredible how good he still was, even earlier this year in his late 50s, just looking amazing. Liger is a great wrestler, one of the greatest cruiserweight wrestlers of all time, and I'm really happy that at least the rumor, but I think it's going to happen, that the WWE is recognizing a great talent like Jushin Thunder Liger, who did wrestle for them a little bit, but not a ton. But they recognize, like, hey, this guy's retiring. He had this whole big retirement tour. It would be nice to cap off the retirement tour with a trip to WrestleMania at the WWE Hall of Fame and induct him into, the WWE Hall of Fame, which he very much deserves. I'm a huge fan of Liger's. I love the guy, and I love that WWE's doing this. They don't always get things right. They don't always do the respect to the wrestling business things.
Right.
They don't always respect the wrestling business.
Barely.
Right?
Yeah.
But when they do, it's so nice, It's so beautiful when they actually pay respect to the wrestling business. And in inducting Jushin Thunder Liger is a thing about the wrestling business and the contributions that he's made to not, the WWE necessarily, but the wrestling business as a whole. Guys like Rey Mysterio, guys like Regal, guys like Dean Malenko. I mean, all these guys could talk about how great Jushin Thunder Liger is. I think Rey Mysterio would be a great choice to induct him, and I can't wait to see Liger at the Hall of Fame receiving that induction. For me, the Hall of Fame is going to be the most must-watch event of that whole weekend over WrestleMania, pretty much to see Liger get inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I'm really into that.
Well,
I want to see the Hall of Fame. I think the Hall of Fame is great this year. The fact that Davey Boy's going in, the fact that Liger's going in, the fact that Hulk Hogan is going in again, that's solid right there. And the Bellas, too. Like, the Hall of Fame this year is really good. The lineup for the Hall of Fame is better than the lineup for WrestleMania. So I'm more excited about the Hall of Fame.
wow, that's something. Goes to show, I think you like, the old wrestling than the new wrestling.
I'm an old guy now.
Yeah, but that's cool. But if you think about it, like Sting is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and he wrestled like 5 matches for WWE, maybe a bit more, but like
Right.
he didn't get inducted for that. He got inducted for his WCW career.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes to show you don't have to be like a huge star in WWE to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, Fujinami went into the Hall of Fame as well. I don't think he ever wrestled for WWE.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, they respect the business sometimes. They inducted Vern Gagne,
Right. Well, I mean, if you think about it, WWE owns it all now, right? So
Sure. Glenn McKenzie says, Juventud Guerrera should be going in before Jushin Liger. That is incorrect. And also, Juvi still wrestled. He wrestled our good buddy Jeremy Prophet. What, Black Dynamite? Was he Black Dynamite when he wrestled him?
I think it was Jeremy Prophet.
I always call him Jeremy Prophet, but then I'm like, wait a second, maybe it's Black Dynamite.
I'm wearing his
You're
cool
wearing his
t-shirt
shirt right
yeah.
now. The Black Quebecois. He's one half of the IWS Tag Team Champions right now, right?
And he's the GNW Heavyweight Champion.
There you go. My main man, Jeremy Prophet, Black Dynamite. He wrestled Juvi, a couple months ago?
I think it was back in October, November.
Yeah.
I was
So,
there.
Juvi's still wrestling.
Yeah, he is.
I think he'll go into the Hall of Fame one day, but not now. Liger, I think Liger going in makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if Juvi will ever actually go in because, again, it kind of ended kind of badly with WWE. So I don't know.
Freddie's saying Harlem Heat. Didn't they go in already?
I feel like they went in last year. Did they not?
Didn't they go in last year? Take it easy, Fred. Fred's like getting all excited. Fred, just watch the show from last year.
The thing is, if you think about it, Booker T was in the NWO, so shouldn't Booker T also get another ring?
Yeah, they were inducted last year, Harlem Heat.
Booker T has 2 rings. He should have a third one, too, because he was in the NWO. So was Stevie Ray.
Yeah, but Booker was barely in the NWO. That doesn't count.
Yeah, but other ones don't. Like, Vincent doesn't count. Vincent was, like, completely in the NWO.
No, Virgil never goes into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Terrible.
Never, Virgil, never. Although he probably deserves it. I mean, he's a big character, man. Everybody knew Virgil.
Well, this is like a staple of the NWO was Vincent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's another thing, too. If you appear on AEW, apparently you're blackballed from WWE, so it's too bad.
Bob Kotick saying Eric Bischoff should go in with the NWO.
Yep. Completely agree.
I don't think they're going to put Bischoff in the Hall of Fame anytime soon because he could still compete against them, and I don't think that they want Bischoff using that he's a WWE Hall of Famer against them in any way. They don't trust Bischoff enough to put him in the Hall of Fame. Haven't put Paul Heyman in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it, but not yet. It'll happen. Bischoff will go in, Heyman will go in, but they're going to be old men when it happens. They don't trust him enough to do it now.
Oh, it's sad.
Come on, man. It's business. It's smart. If I were Vince, I wouldn't put Bischoff in my Hall of Fame. Not yet. I don't know.
Again, when I think of
Come on. They just fired Bischoff, too. They were like, thank you, no thank you.
Well, he also kind of left, too. Like, he realized this isn't for me kind of thing, so it's kind of a mutual firing. Like, yeah, this isn't working out. I'm like, yep, goodbye. So, but when I think of the NWO, again, I think Eric Bischoff, so if the NWO goes in, Bischoff should go in. If anything, he should induct them.
He could induct them, but he doesn't have to go in with them. He could go in by himself. All right? He could go in by himself down the road. Lil Fettuccine 69 wanted to know if we're going to do a watch-along for Super Showdown. We will not be doing a watch-along for Super Showdown. We do not do watch-alongs for shows in Saudi Arabia. Also, it's a Thursday afternoon, and it's just inconvenient for both of us.
Well, more so for you than me. Actually, Thursday's fine for me, but it's more for you, but it's okay.
I got other things to do. I'm going to be doing some jiu-jitsu, I think, Thursday at that time, so I don't really want to... I'll watch Super Showdown when I get home. Whatever, Super Showdown. Who cares? We'll preview Super Showdown on Wrestling Uncensored. We'll tell you what's going to go down. try to pick the winners and stuff.
We are doing a watch-along next week, though.
Shit, you're right.
Yeah, because AEW, the pay-per-view is coming up. Revolution.
Are we going to preview that on next week's Dave and Johnny Live? Because it's a Saturday show, right? And our show, like Wrestling Uncensored, airs Saturday mornings on the YouTube channel, but then Saturday night on the radio station in Montreal, and then Sunday morning on the radio station in Peterborough. So our preview for AEW Revolution should probably be on next week's episode of Dave and Johnny Live, so we could get it out to everybody on Friday, right?
That's what we did last time.
Does that make sense?
That's what we did for the last pay-per-view.
Okay.
You got it all figured out. It's good.
We got to figure these things out, man. There's a lot to coordinate. So we're going to be live next Saturday for UFC Norfolk Benavidez versus Figueiredo. No, wait. For AEW Revolution.
I think Benavidez might win, actually.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares about that?
Okay.
I mean, that fight card is not great. UFC Norfolk, Virginia, or AEW Revolution in Chicago. I'm going to watch AEW Revolution from Chicago. And we'll do a watch-along here for that thing on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Leave a comment. Click the bell when you subscribe so you get notifications every time we're on. RingsideReport.net is the website.
Yeah, after last week's AEW, I'm definitely excited for the pay-per-view. I can't wait, actually.
Yeah, why?
Because that was just a great show, top to bottom.
It was all right.
Oh, I thought it started great. The Battle Royal was kind of like iffy a bit, but it got better as the show went on. I thought the tag match was pretty good. And then the main event, it delivered.
You like the main event? What did you think of Wardlow?
I mean, for his first match, there's not much more you could ask for, in my opinion.
It was all right.
I thought that was a great debut match.
Yeah, Cody was great.
And if you're going to lose, that's a perfect way to lose your first match. I mean, Cody had to go above and beyond to beat him.
So we'll talk about AEW a little bit on Wrestling Uncensored too, and then we'll preview the AEW pay-per-view next week on Dave and Johnny Live. New IWGP Tag Team Champions, a couple of handsome devils from Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi, defeat the Gorillas of Destiny to become the new IWGP Tag Team Champions. First time those two together as tag team champions, and it's pretty cool.
Well, Kota's been tag champ before, no?
Yeah, I think Tanahashi may have held but I'm saying as a tag team. Look at those guys. Champions. Ibushi and Tanahashi. The Ace and the Golden Star. That is a really good tag team. And what I like about this is that it's two of the top singles guys in New Japan forming a tag team and really elevating the entire tag team division. That's really one of the main issues with New Japan right now in their booking is the tag team division is just kind of lackluster. But now you put Ibushi and Tanahashi together as a tag team, hey, that whole division just got a lot more interesting. And it shows that this tag team title actually means something because Ibushi and Tanahashi are challenging for it, are holding the titles, and they care about it enough to be the champions. So I think it's really great. Ibushi and Tanahashi are two of the best going in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I look forward to seeing what they do as the tag team champions. I love it, man. I think it's great.
Well, this is their third tag team champion so far, right? So it seems like the singles titles kind of stay. Like Naito didn't lose, right, to Kenta.
No.
But the tag team titles, it seems like that's wide open.
Yeah, the tag team titles move around quite a bit. Naito didn't lose either Intercontinental title or heavyweight title to Kenta. Moxley didn't even lose his U.S. title to Minoru Suzuki. That was a hell of a match there a couple weeks ago. Fantastic.
So I guess that's it for them. There's not much for them to do, so put them in the tag team division.
Makes sense. That's it, man. Like, they're not going to be the champion right now.
Right.
So
either one, because like Naito has two titles, so
yeah, that's it. They don't really have a singles program, so make them the tag team champions. Makes a lot of sense. It's great for New Japan. I think it's fantastic. I love New Japan Pro Wrestling, man. It's such high level wrestling.
It's very stiff. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of New Japan, Jeff Cobb, he was on AEW this week. He was awesome.
He was good. Yeah.
Apparently, he wants to work both New Japan and AEW, or if he's going to work for AEW, he wants to have a schedule where he's able to work New Japan as well, which, I mean, Moxley does it, so why not?
Jericho does it too.
Yeah.
I think it should be done. Hopefully they can work it out.
Does Jericho do it, or is he done with New Japan?
He said he's going to come back for Wrestle Kingdom at least. So
We'll see. He wrestled Tanahashi, beat him at Wrestle Kingdom this year. You got a match this weekend?
I do. I'm in a tag team match. Me and Bjork against Dom Boulanger and Drew Onyx.
You and Bjork, the Icelandic singer. Fantastic.
It's actually Bjork with a G, not with a K, but
Bjork.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Bjork?
see, that's it. You pronounce it Bjork because, it doesn't sound right when you pronounce the way
I'm pronouncing it Bjork.
it sounds very weird the way you say it.
Johnny and Bjork, they are a tag team. They have a lady manager. Da-da-da.
And it's not Dave Simon in a wig.
Yeah, as much as you would like that, you sick freak.
But, yeah, it's going to be a very physical matchup
Better be.
this Sunday
Better be.
in Montreal North.
Oh. Well, if you're in Montreal North, it better be a physical matchup, all right? It's a tough place.
It is a very tough place.
Cool. So go watch Johnny North wrestle this weekend. More info is on his Twitter, @NorthGenesis, @Genesis Johnny North on Instagram. Lil Fettuccini69 wants to know, Wilder or Fury?
I guess I'll go Fury.
Me too. He beat Braun Strowman, man. How can you go against him?
Well, I mean, that was a horrible match, but because I know Fury, so okay.
I think Fury won the first fight, so I'm going to take him to win this one. They scored it a draw, but I did not. I scored it for Fury.
I didn't see it, so I don't know. But he wrestled in WWE, so I respect him for that a little bit.
I don't respect you if you wrestle in the WWE necessarily. Like, if you wrestle full-time in WWE, respect. If you wrestle one match in WWE, that doesn't earn my respect. A lot of people wrestled one match in WWE. Does Snooki have your respect?
She actually wrestled twice. If I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
so?
Yeah, she has my respect, actually, yeah.
Okay. Drew Carey?
That was the Rumble, though. I mean, though actually,
Doesn't count?
Drew Carey was actually great in his role. For what he did.
Respect.
Yeah, respect, yeah.
So anybody that wrestles one match in WWE, instant respect from Big Johnny. It takes at least 3 or 4 matches. You got to do a couple loops to earn my respect. Do a loop or two, then we'll talk.
Well, apparently if Fury wins this, he's probably going to come back to WWE. They want to use him if he wins.
But if he loses...
Yeah, screw him. Like, well, it's a lot like Tyson. Remember when Tyson, apparently he was supposed to referee Savage and Hogan, apparently way back, but he lost. So they didn't want him afterwards.
They keep taking Brock Lesnar after he loses.
Well, they took Tyson anyways eventually.
Took Ronda
right?
Rousey after she lost.
Right. Eventually, but not right away. Apparently, if you lose right away, it's like, no, we don't want to talk to you or touch you.
How many fights did Shayna Baszler lose before she quit MMA fighting and went to pro wrestling?
I think you're about to find this out.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you in a second. I mean, a few.
Well, she never won the championship.
I'd say you earn my respect. I'll tell you what. You know how you earn my respect? One match in WWE, one fight in the UFC, respect. Instant respect. You go out there in the UFC, in a cage fight, a real fight, one fight in the UFC, you get my respect.
You didn't lose respect for
even
CM
Punk.
Wow.
I didn't lose respect for him. He already had my respect as a pro wrestler. I mean, I questioned his decision-making. I was like, really, dude?
You didn't like his fight. That's for
Shayna
sure.
lost 4 in a row before quitting MMA. But her last fight in the UFC, her second to last pro fight, a loss to the greatest of all time, Amanda Nunes. So, Shayna fought. See, that's where you earn respect too. You fight Amanda Nunes, respect. Shayna fought Amanda Nunes, the greatest women's fighter of all time, and now she is a WWE wrestler. Shayna's a legend. Shayna was fighting in women's MMA when there was no reason to be fighting in women's MMA. Women didn't have MMA fights. There was maybe one fight on a card here or there every once in a while. It was super rare. She started in 2003. I mean, nobody was fighting women's MMA in 2003. It was Shayna and like 5 other girls.
She was good on The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. And like I remember on The Ultimate Fighter, there was a bunch of unknowns, and then there was Shayna, and people knew Shayna because she'd been fighting for like 10 years.
But if I'm not mistaken, she didn't win that in the end.
No, she didn't win because, she was towards the end of her MMA career.
And she
had
hurt.
a lot of miles on her.
Right.
When she finally got to the UFC, she'd been fighting for close to 11 years.
Wow.
Shayna Baszler's 39 years old, right? So when she got into the UFC in 2014, it was, 6 years ago, 39? So she was like 33 and had been fighting for 10 years. When you're 33 as an MMA fighter with 10 years in the game, you're kind of towards the end of your career. So, yeah, Shayna didn't have a great UFC career, but, before that, she was like 14-6 as a pro. She had a good career. She was in Elite XC for a while. She fought Cyborg. She lost to Cyborg.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah. She beat Roxanne Modafferi back in 2006. Julie Kedzie. I mean, these are some names of some trailblazers in women's MMA. She beat Alexis Davis, Elena Maxwell, Sarah DeLelio. I mean, she's been in there. She fought Sarah McMahon. She fought Sarah Kaufman. She fought Cyborg. She fought Betch Correia. She fought Amanda Nunes. Shayna Baszler's legit. She's got my respect 100%. She deserves that match with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. And she's going to get it. And I don't understand why we have to have an Elimination Chamber match to get there. It's so stupid. Like, Shayna bit Becky's head off last week. Becky's cutting a promo about Shayna. Shayna's cutting a promo about Becky. And then we're like, yeah, but just wait for Elimination Chamber. Shayna's going to be in a match. And if she wins, then she gets to face Becky for the Raw title at WrestleMania. And I'm like, fuck out of here. If she wins. She's going to win. What do you mean if she wins?
Well,
what are we doing this for? Like, it's so dumb. Stop insulting my intelligence.
But the guys have one. The girls have to have one. They do this every year.
And the men's Elimination Chamber match will be won by Roman Reigns. And the women's Elimination Chamber match will be won by Shayna Baszler. What's the point of even having these matches? We already know the outcome.
Well, what do you want? Like predictable Rumble, which was like completely thrown off this year. Instead, you get predictable Elimination Chamber. I'll go with unpredictable Rumble. That's better.
I'll take unpredictable everything.
Yeah, well, you don't get that.
A little bit more unpredictability, please. At least don't have Shayna attack Becky until after she wins the chamber match. It's pretty simple. Why are you doing this build before she even gets the match? It's stupid.
No, because you kind of want her to win, actually, so then she will face Becky.
Oh, fuck out of here.
You got to build this up, yeah.
Get out of here, dude.
You got to build it up.
Bullshit. Fuck off. Show's over. Sick of this nonsense, John. Thanks, everybody, for watching. John's pissing me off right now.
I do that every week, apparently.
AJ's spamming again. AJ always does this. He always gets messages deleted because he's writing in all caps. He's trying to get noticed. AJ probably has something for us. AJ, final thoughts here? We're going to get final comments. I know a lot of people have been commenting. Glenn's been there. Freddie's been there. AJ, Fettuccine 69, Bob Cote. Shout out to everybody watching today. We're going to wrap this sucker up, John. We've been going on for way too long.
So you have anything else to say about how you're traumatized from last week? No?
No.
You're okay now?
I'm over it.
Good.
I mean, you're a weird guy, but hey, I already knew that.
Well, just wait until next year. It'll be even fun.
Mad Dog Vachon says Johnny North #1. If only that was the real Mad Dog, you'd really be getting somewhere.
Oh, that's cool. Someone takes his name. That's cool with me, too.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm Dave. He's Johnny. This has been Dave and Johnny Live.
Goodbye.